Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show, there is viewer mail coming from California, and we're going to delve into free airplanes and Trump in an unprecedented trip to the Middle East. Good morning and welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. It is Friday, May 16th, and we have a lot to talk about. Let's open up with our new segment we started last week called Viewer Mail. This letter, this note, this communication is from Myrna Armstrong of Los Angeles, California. And she says, "Hey DB, what's your take on this whole Trump 747 gift from Qatar?" You know, I don't even know what to say, Myrna. I mean, they're making a huge stink about it, which they do about everything. Lately, I've been forgetting the purple dust, the purple sand, equivalent to all of our lives, lies in this glass object. Anyway, timer to get me knowing when I'm supposed to shut up, when I'm supposed to hurry up, when I'm supposed to finish, or my wife will kill me because I have lunches to make for the children before they go to school. Let me read this to you first, Myrna. In what may be the most valuable gift ever extended to the United States from a foreign government, the Trump administration is preparing to accept a super luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar. A gift that is to be available for the use by President Donald Trump as the new Air Force One until shortly before he leaves office, at which time the ownership of the plane will be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation. Sources familiar with the proposed arrangement told ABC News. Okay, so he goes over there, they're making a big splash. They want to do this, incredibly generous, probably over the top a little bit, $400 million airplane to Trump. Now I can see a number of the initially alarming things that are coming out, particularly from the left side. You don't want a president be able to receive such gifts because is he going to make decisions then favorable to the governments that are buying him or whatever they're doing? So he said he would convert it over into Air Force One, and then afterwards it would go to the Trump Library. I don't know about all the legalities of that. I'm not sure whether he should be able to, certainly not personally accept it. I don't think that would be a good move. Donating it, I heard a lot of stuff. I looked after I got the letter from you, Myrna. I looked into it a little more. Could it be converted into an Air Force One? We haven't seen Air Force One upgrades. The planes have been flying for like 40 years. That's a long time. So I'm sure they upgrade them, spy-wise, technical-wise, protection, safety-wise. And I would imagine they're doing that. Particularly communications have to be cloaked. This was set up as a scenario by which the plane flies in, like even in a nuclear war, the president could run the country and make worldly decisions in air. It can be refueled in air, all kinds, stay up there for a long, long time. So anyway, do you not think that the people that would get their hands on this plane for the president wouldn't be able to tell if there was devices on the plane that could, be communicated to and blow up, and they wouldn't be able to see if they were being spied on? Like all these different things I read about were like, yeah, man, the plane would get retrofitted. We would get in there and we would do whatever we had to do. Evidently, from a construction standpoint, the plane is made in a certain way that's not the standard operating procedure to making one of these jumbo jets. So it may not even qualify to do so. I don't think my focus to answer your question is going to be all this stuff about, is he on the take? Isn't it nice to have anyone in the world want to give such a lavish gift to our leader? Isn't it nice that anyone in the world wants to express their excitement to work with us, their gratitude to have a world leader as the president of our United States? I mean, I didn't see anybody asking Barack Obama if they could give him a jet, or asking Biden if they could give him a jet. And say what you will, because of course, when it comes to Trump, we have to find something to say negative. We have to find as many ways as we can to bash him, because you don't want him to be successful when you're not a Republican, when you don't sit on the right. So, and this is again, and again, please don't write me and tell me, oh, you say these things, DB, about. I realize that it comes from the right side also. I realize that, there wasn't much that Biden could do that anyone was going to agree was good. There was an election going on, same thing on the other side. They don't want anyone to think that this administration could lead this country beyond Trump. In fact, they try to find reasons to impeach him now, unfounded, ridiculous crap. And all it is a game that both sides participate in. And they miss, I think, the opportunity. Is there not things that we could find, that we could work together on, that we could find commonality in? Isn't there anything like that we could, hey man, let's look at how much money this president has just signed up for in the Middle East? Isn't there something that we could come to terms with about Iran and nuclear proliferation in the region? Isn't there something we could do about Israel and Gaza and open up some discussions about peace? We have I grew up in New York. I have a business partner that I do a lot of work with. His name is Rabbi Benny. And, I see the pain for him and his people. And again, I acknowledge, the concerns about Gaza and anything that has to do with children being harmed or anything like that. I get all of it. I do. I understand. My heart goes out to all of the mothers and fathers and everyone when any child suffers in any way. I just find it, to answer your question, Myrna, I find it sad that all we're going to do is focus on this ridiculous airplane and not talk about one of the most successful trips to the Middle East of all time. That's how I feel. So I'm going to cough that one out, and I'm going to read you this. Abu Dhabi, President Trump's show-stopping trip to the Middle East, complete with lavish welcomes, diplomatic breakthroughs, and business deals worth an estimated $2 trillion. Let me say that again. $2 trillion have left even Democrats favorably comparing him to former President Joe Biden, whose fading cognitive abilities and lack of stamina are being blamed for preventing similar accomplishments. So it's hard, let's say you're a Boston Red Sox fan. You hate the Yankees. We hate Boston. As a Yankee fan, it doesn't mean I hate people from Boston. It doesn't mean I hate Boston. Always admire the Celtics, love Larry Bird, blah, 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 blah. But we hate the Red Sox. that just comes with being a New York kid, and vice versa. Any of my friends that are from Boston will tell you, hey, love you, Daniel, great guy, love making movies, blah, blah, whatever it is. But when it comes to the Yankees, I hate you and I hate the Yankees. Okay. When you hit the ball over the fence, when you hit a 475 moonshot, Judge just smashes the ball. Even a diehard baseball guy who follows Boston goes, man, that was a hell of a shot. Did you see the shot Justice hit? Did you see the shot Judge hit, rather? Did you see how far he hit it? Did you see what Reggie Jackson did? 3 home runs, 3 pitches against the Dodgers, blah, blah, blah. So we can admire something and acknowledge something athletic. We can look at something, even though as a Knicks fan against the Celtics, you hated to lose to the Celtics because they were so close and so on. The same thing here. You could be a Democrat, you could be a Republican. But when someone kills it, when someone absolutely just hits it out of the park, you can't acknowledge that. You got to find something about the trip, an airplane that was good. He didn't say, hey, by the way, maybe throw in an airplane into the deal. He didn't say that. They offered this plane as a gesture to show, and the quotes that are coming out of Abu Dhabi and different regions or different cities in the region and different countries are, hey, we finally have a world leader back, so a powerful man in the office who's going to come here and he's going to make deals. He's going to do some $2 trillion. Man, we need that shot in the arm while we tank what's going on in the economy right now, which, he did not do, his administration is not responsible for. It's taken him longer to get out of it, but 2 trillion, and stuff that we do well, personal protection, ammunition and technology, AI, big contract coming to us. We have other people in the region, Israel, for instance, that our tax dollars, our money that we spend in taxes, buys the protection for Israel. We pay for that. They don't sign big, lavish contracts. And there's been some concern from Israel and other people in the region that support Israel that have said, so this is how you get the Americans' attention. Well, we've been footing that bill for a long time for our friends in Israel. We've been paying for their protection out of our money. So think about that for a minute. Trump goes over there and he makes amazing economic deals for us. He walks away with people going, wow, this guy came to play. He's a hardball player. He's a leader. And they're looking at him and they're looking at the possibilities. Imagine sanctions ending against Syria. And maybe we can start to, as we work on these relationships and build on them socioeconomically, we can take a look at how do we mend some fences? How can we get a ceasefire? How can we get relations and people at the bargaining table talking again? I think these are the types of things that Trump is going to work towards. So what I find very frustrating is the fact that you look at everything that he's done and just this little trip. And back home, while people in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in other countries are saying, hey, bravo, Trump did a really great job. We want to give him $400 million gifts because of how honored we are that he came here and he really took the cat by the tail and he took care of business. Not here. Not here. The Chuck Schumers of the world are going to find something to say about what tie he wore, or how he dressed, or how he said, some total bullshit that they're going to come up with to not just go, hey man, a good job. That was a good job. JFK, great speech. This one, great this, blah, blah, whatever it is. You can't acknowledge when someone smashes the ball over the fence, just jacks it. Even when you're, it's like the pitcher throws the ball and you hear the crack of that and he doesn't even look. He just goes, damn it. Because he knows it's gone. It's gone. Trump had a it's gone day. Like, it's like, how can you say anything about him that isn't positive right now for what he just did in the Middle East? It's so sad, man. I feel like I live in a world where people just can't appreciate it. Let me read this to you. President Donald Trump announced investment agreements with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates worth more than $2 trillion for projects in defense aviation, in artificial intelligence, among other venues, during his trip this week to the Middle East, where he was joined by dozens of prominent business executives who took part in the deals. So it's not just him and governments, it's big businesses that got there. And they sat with him and they made these deals. I mean, I don't know about you, but $2 trillion, $2 trillion in new business. Wow. And all we're talking about, with all that incentive, with all that potential, with putting these business entities at the table. Let me explain what, if you don't know this, and you probably do, but I'm going to go over it anyway because it's important to say. Business, big business, has far more influence. Business and religion. Those two things have far more influence in the direction countries go, in deals that are made, and as far as war, and as far as many other things, and the freedoms and the things that a society is allowed to enjoy. Way more of it has to do with business. So with that said, think about the things that could come from $2 trillion worth of conversations. People are going to have to communicate about that. People are going to have to talk about how they implement and what they need and what the logistics of delivering these things. And our different societies, our very different societies, are going to interact with each other. and it'll be a global situation. These kinds of deals affect several. It's like watching a trade in sports. You know, so-and-so is going from the Knicks to the Dallas Mavericks, but they get this guy here and this draft pick goes over there, and they have to pay money back to Milwaukee that owed money on this guy's contract. And you start seeing 6 draft picks go to get this one player, and teams that get paid special monies to pay off their interest and extra money for over a 10-year period. And you see how many teams can be involved sometimes in a trade, and you see how elaborate the payoffs can be and how it can affect the economy of the salary cap. You get where I'm going. That's what's going on here. We're going to be, because of these $2 trillion worth of deals that have been signed, we're going to be involved in conversations for decades and business transactions and the delivery of goods and so on. I mean, these are gigantic numbers. And so I'm so happy that the president was able to go there and ride in proud. And, you know, we're back home, we're talking about 45 million, you know, it could be up to 45 million for the parade. He plays golf, and when he plays golf, because of the Secret Service, it costs $2 million or something. I read some article, someone was bitching about how much it costs for Trump, who's a big golf enthusiast. If you bring on one deal $2 trillion and you want to play golf once every other week, and it costs $4 million a month times 12 months, that seems like a lot to pay for golf. What's the interest on $2 trillion? What's the effect of $2 trillion? I haven't seen any other presidents. It's not in the last, you know, not even the first Trump administration, and nothing like that with Obama for 8 years, and certainly nothing like that for Biden. So $2 trillion on one trip. I mean, he's not even close to done. Wait till he gets done. And you worry about what it costs for him to play golf? Well, unfortunately, we live in a world where people park outside the golf course and hide, want to shoot him. I mean, they got to make sure it's safe. And if it's his will to go play golf, you know, I see the point where it's a lot of money, but he's doing a really, really good job. Doing a really good job. And they have to cover him, and they have to. Again, all I keep hearing about is they find something to say, not holy crap, we just did $2 trillion worth of business in the Middle East for our country, for our working force, for our veterans, you know, who work in the same fields or who are out there, and we're going to protect them and deploy them in places where they'll be safe. So when you go and you're a NATO country, or you go and you're defending a friend, don't you want to make sure that they have the right stuff so that our boys and girls are safe when they're over there? This is part of it. It's not just them. It's the fact that our citizens enjoy a lot of time in Saudi Arabia. We enjoy time in Qatar. It's not just them, it's our interests there. Our businesses, our business people, in a world where they kidnap people and they hold them hostage, and hostages are taken left and right from terrorist organizations. Now, I want to make sure that the guys over there are trained right, they have the right armaments, and they can take an airport back, or they can squash some type of aggression against our people. And I want all that. I'm really happy. I'm really happy that he went in and he just killed it. So say what you want. Let me look right down the barrel and explain to you. Trump killed this trip. He just knocked it out of the park. And as a country, we should be really happy. We're going to find other things. We're going to flourish as a result of making people there happy, co-making money together, and making investments into our country. These guys are putting up $600 billion in investment in the U.S. I don't see a lot of other people doing that. Tell me the other countries that are putting that money in. Tell me the other countries that we defend, that we have today out of bases in their country. American fighters will go up in the air and patrol the skies of countries that don't do shit for us. They don't. They don't pay us. They don't share the expense. They don't come over here to help us when airplanes hit towers for 9/11. They don't do shit. Here's a country that Trump goes in and shuts the deal for 600B. B, like Baldwin. B, 600B. Come on. Are you kidding me? That's killing it. That is absolutely killing it. So I'm pretty excited about it. I know a lot of my friends are like, wow, what a trip. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a president that's made a trip and come back with $2 trillion worth of investment. So I would say, where's your guy? Where's your horse? My horse Secretariat just went around the track and won by 36 lengths. Where's your horse? What do you got? There's nothing to compare it to. Never been done before. Why isn't the press gushing over this guy? Why aren't you like me? And there are plenty of you. Please don't misunderstand me. A lot of loyal people to the show, and there are a lot of loyal people to my show. And I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much for liking the show. Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing the show. If you find it in your nature to support the show, please like the show. Please subscribe to the show. Please share it to other people because they don't know we're here. And whatever you do, please continue like Myrna did to write in your questions or your statements. We're working on building the show up more. But I got to tell you that your support in the questions that you write. I pick a question, I pick something to do, but there's a lot of people that write stuff in. There's a lot of people that write stuff in. So maybe we should get like a board going, or something going on. We gotta give more access to people. I have to start to do more of these personal videos, and I'm working on that. My wife, who is a lawyer, and she does like a lot of, all her legal stuff. She has her own practice, and it's hard because she knows my wife's considerably younger than I am, and way better looking. Hi, honey. And she knows about posting in social media, along with the producer of the show, Bunny, who is like a guru of all this stuff. She just, knows how to, oh, no, you want to do this, you want to do that. I didn't grow up with cell phones. There was no such thing as a cell phone. We had beepers, beep, 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 and a number would come up, and then you had to go to a payphone on the street and make sure you kept change in your car so I could call up and say, yeah, who is this? Oh, it's Tom. We have your delivery, whatever. But I remember my daughter said to me, she said, Dad, what was it like before cell phones? What was that like? And she said, I'm not trying to be obnoxious. I just really want to know, what was that like to not be able to just call and she said, I can't imagine my life. I mean, everything I do school-wise, everything I do business-wise, all my contacts, everything I do is based around this phone. And I said, do you really want to know? She said, yeah, I can't imagine. I said, let me show you. And I rolled the window up and I stuck my head out and I went, stickball in 20 minutes. And I screamed, stickball in 20 minutes. And I said, do you know that in 20 minutes there'd have been 4 or 5 guys right standing outside ready to play stickball? I didn't have Facebook friends in Helsinki. I couldn't get a hold of someone. I had to either call them on a regular phone, or I waited till I saw them the next day, or I got on my bicycle or walked to go meet them. No one drove me around. No one took me to my appointments. I had to walk to school or take a bus to school, depending upon which school it was in my life. There was no such thing as all this. I had to write my own papers. I had to go to the library. Imagine this now. I mean, for you younger people who don't understand that, you had to ride your bike to the library or walk to the library in high school. You had to take a periodic guide, which was a guide that helped direct you to where a book would be, what aisle, what row, whatever. And then you went and found that book and pulled it out. And there was the book that you were looking for on Abraham Lincoln. And then you had to actually read the book, cover to cover, hopefully, and write your book report about Lincoln. You couldn't push a button and say, or you couldn't have the book read back to you on your audio selection and blah, blah. So, no, I'm an idiot comparatively. Now, I think compared to some people my age, I'm, because of the movie business, I've had to learn more, and I have teenage daughters, and my wife also, who's really smart that way. She grew up around this. She's it's more part of her daily thing as she was raised. It's not mine. So all this is foreign to me. It is. It's quite interesting and humbling to have to go. I used to go to my kids, and now I go to my wife because, I mean, she's a grown woman, and she'll look at me and go, honey, no, look. And she, in seconds. And I know she's trying to help me. I know that but she doesn't realize that I walk in the other room and go, I feel like such an idiot that I don't know that, you switch the page, you hit up top, you semicolon, hyphen, blah, 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 blah. And there you go. And then suddenly my picture changes, my resume is up underneath it, and it's out to 25,000 people in seconds. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you, honey, I love you. And I'm walking away going, I don't think I could redo that. I don't think, and watching how quickly she can get through it. Now, Bunny, on the other hand, is somebody who is the producer of our show. And she can do it even better than my wife, because this is what she does. My wife's pretty savvy to all of it, but Bunny's like a guru master, like Zen. So I'm pretty lost with all of it. So be patient. But I have been told to say, please hit like and subscribe to the show, because that makes things better. Here's another thing that I wanted to do on today's show, and then I'm going to wrap it up. A shorter show than usual. I have to go up to Chattanooga, Tennessee today, and knock out some business up there. So, what do you want? What do you want to see? A lot of our shows are very politically oriented because we just had an election. The country is definitely pretty volatile in some ways when it comes to how, I think the biggest problem is the dialogue between each side, that we're not finding enough common ground, and that all we do is participate in this bashing of each other. And I've never seen the Democratic Party in such disarray. I mean, I can't think of anybody that really leads it. I can't think of a front runner. When it comes to my business, I see people that are just, they don't want to say in Hollywood. And this is when the phones are turned off and no one wants to. A lot of people don't want to say anything on the phone now, I noticed. They definitely won't write anything. That's contrary. But after the fires in Los Angeles, there's a lot of big name celebrities, how that was handled, and the election being lost to Trump. And they're watching now the economy and the deals that he's making, and the stock market is coming back. And I think a lot of people are going, well, maybe we really needed this guy right now. Maybe this was a good move. When big celebrities, when big name people are going to be told, no, this person stole $5 billion. This person personally made $100 million. This person used little kids and their names. This person was involved in sex trafficking of little girls and boys. When those types of things come out, I don't think any of us really imagined that, they did business with somebody who had a person that worked there that was involved in it. And you go, well, I mean, how much do you want to blame me? I'm not watching what every investor, I'm not, if they come to the table and their business looks clean and, they're with this governor at a meeting and they're playing golf with this guy. Again, I'm a movie actor. Do you want to do a movie and then you find out that guy is Harvey Weinstein? You find out that I don't know what these people do with their personal time. So I don't take all that, when they write that. Well, it turns out that, George Clooney, blah, blah. George Clooney's just another actor. That's what he is. He's a guy who did 16 pilots before he hit ER. He's a working actor. I think that he allows himself sometimes to say things that maybe would be better for him just to be a working actor, in my opinion. But he's a big movie star. And I don't think he would be held accountable for what producers on shows he did. I mean, it's like my brother Alec, where they want to bury him for things that are far beyond his control sometimes. Not all the time for either one of them. Some things that they've had control over that they've made choices that they got hit for. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they profited. There's people out there that knew where the money was going, that knew what was happening, that were directly involved in either sexual situations with minors, or they profited and knew that they were profiting from sex trafficking. Those people are going to be outed. I mean, we're getting much, much closer now to naming people, talking about Comey, and did he put a suggestive message, 86-47, 86 get rid of 47. Was he implying in that post that he thought the President Trump should be killed? Was he trying to coerce someone into seeing that and try to kill the president? I don't know. But if that can be proved, if there's, what was the reason for that, that's an offense that I think should be investigated for sure. What are we doing here, man? What are we doing? People's heads are gonna roll. They're gonna roll for the injustices and the crimes that they committed. There's people that are congressmen and women, senators, men and women, that profited a lot of money from insider trading. Their names are going to come out soon. You're going to have to decide, is that the person that I want? Well, I'm wondering about homeless veterans. I'm wondering, this is one that you hear me say a lot because it really upsets me. And so when I see a guy hold a sign that says homeless veteran, blah, 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 I always interact with him for a minute. I say, you hungry, man? And he goes, yeah, bro, any money you can give me. And I don't give them money. I'll take the time to either call someone and say I'm going to be late, or if I have the time because I'm on my personal time, I'll go to the store, I'll buy 2 sandwiches and 2 things of water, and I give them that. I circle around, wait on the line again, go down 2 exits, turn around, doesn't matter. This is somebody who at one point was deemed well enough to defend our country, and he or she doesn't have a home. They have no health care. They're mentally not doing well. They're committing suicide. They're hurting themselves. They're addicted to drugs. Whatever the problem is, haven't they already paid the price? Did you get out of bed with a rifle in your hands last week, last month, last year, 5 years ago? Did you? I didn't. I didn't do that. I didn't choose that path. And I'm very grateful for those who protect our interests around the world and here at home. And I think that we owe them tremendously we owe them. So what can we do to solve those problems? Can't we agree? Can't we agree on both sides couldn't we put together, remember there was there was Farm Aid, there was We Are the World, We Are the Children. All these big artists put their egos away, from Stevie Wonder to Michael Jackson to the boss Bruce Springsteen, whatever it was, and they recorded that song to raise money and awareness to help a particular cause. Can't we all agree that having homeless veterans is a terrible thing, is a disservice to these people who gave so much for us? What if we focus on that kind of stuff? What if we focus on bridges that are collapsing, or roads that are terrible, or inner city youth that needs a fair and even playing field because they don't get access to the same books and the same education? What if we looked at, and we could go on and on about things that we all look at and say, yeah, that's not a good thing, or that's not fair, or we should change that. Well, we can. Write to me, right here, things that you think we could work on together. That's a great thing. Let's explore that. Let's explore a couple episodes of the show where we say, here's one that most of the viewers think is, and there's, hundreds of thousands of views sometimes that go on a short. When Bunny puts together a cool little short, we've had ones that were, 700,000, I think, views or more, 500,000 a number of times. Send it back. Send something back to us, a comment on it that says, hey, I'd like to work on X. I'd like to work on this, whatever. And then let's start a rallying point where maybe we could do something and get politicians to back us. Something that we could all do in common. Could you imagine what it would be like if there were no homeless veterans. Imagine how proud we would all be that we got involved and got Republican away on one side, Democrat away on another side, and we just said, we're going to help these guys and girls, and we're going to give them a home. I don't know how. I'm open to listening to your suggestions. I want to hear what you have to say, but there's a great proposition for you guys. That's a great proposition. Click like, please subscribe, share our show with other people, and let's get the word out. Maybe we got a little project that we could do. Would that be so cool? You know what? As you know, I end in prayer. I'm going to pray right now because I feel really inspired to do this prayer right now. So, dear Lord, we thank you, Father, for all of your guidance and your protection that you give over your flock, Lord, and we love you. And so today we're talking about, Lord, doing projects together that we can find in common, that we could say, you know what, we love Jesus, and that's what we have in common, and therefore we want to serve him, we want to serve our flock in his name. So, Lord, if it be your will, please compel our listeners to spread the word and to come up with suggestions about how we can do something to help our homeless veterans, or whatever the cause is in your name that they want to seek and they want to pursue. Lord, we thank you, we love you. In your name we pray, amen. Bam! That's what I'm talking about right there, man. I feel fired up. I feel fired up that we're going to come up with some cool stuff that we can work on together. Democrats or Republicans, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're talking about human beings in the name of the Lord, which is way more important than anything else or any political affiliation. Praise God. Have a blessed day. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday. Bye.